Well, it was indeed another rainy start to the day today, South Carolina. But as we went more throughout the day today, we saw that rainfall decrease. In fact, it was pretty much like that at my house today, or where I am, where I traveled to today, where this morning woke up to a very powerful thunderstorm this morning. And honestly, just as we went throughout the day, that rainfall activity definitely did decrease. Now, we're going to be talking about our weather for tonight, obviously for tomorrow, and then also we're going to be talking about some cooler than normal temperatures as we go into this weekend. Drier weather returns briefly late Saturday into early next week as the high pressure builds, and then a significant warm up begins early to middle parts of next week. So, all of that we're going to get to. I am your meteorologist, Joseph Peterson, and let's go on and talk about the weather for your Thursday evening going into your future. Also, the drop monitor will be tonight. So, starting off, what is going on right now throughout the entire state of South Carolina? Right now, we are looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. We're not seeing any sort of major rainfall throughout the state. We have like a little area of rainfall near Rock Hill, near Van Wyck or Wick. And then also over here near Gray Court, Cross Anchor, these areas we do have some rainfall, but it's not much, and it's definitely something that we don't need to be concerned about. Now for our winter weather radar, because we're looking at the entire U.S., and obviously there is still snow going on throughout parts of the U.S. We have some rainfall up here in Maine, though, also in the Northeast. From the mid-Atlantic as well, we see some rainfall. We also see some rainfall in Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan, Indiana, Missouri, Kansas. Some rainfall going on in Minnesota, South Dakota, some snowfall in parts of the Four Corners area, and just over inside of the Intermountain West, we do have some rainfall going on over here. But the main area of rainfall for sure, and probably the most activity, is down here in Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, to where we do have some rainfall and some storms going on right now. Now, cloud cover. Cloud cover, we do have some cloud cover going throughout the state right now. I see that we do have some in the upstate, the Midlands, the PD areas, Grand Strand, Low Country. I mean, every area is receiving cloud cover right now, whether it's a lot or a little. But one thing I will say about this cloud cover is as we get into tomorrow, it will still remain with us. As we go into tomorrow afternoon, we are still talking about more cloudy conditions. Look at how we get into tomorrow night, going into Saturday morning. Still cloudy conditions. We move into Saturday afternoon. We start to see that cloud cover finally start to move over into the east, but it's going to be the next 48 hours are going to be pretty cloudy for us statewide. Current temperatures right now, we're talking about 60s, 66 in Greenville, 65 Spartanburg, Gaffney, York, 66 in Rock Hill, 67 in Lawrence, Union, Newbury, Greenwood, 68 in Columbia, 67 in Orangeburg, as well as 69 in Aiken, 66 Somerville, and 67 in Charleston, 70 Beaufort, and 65 in Georgetown, 66 in Murrells Inlet, and 65 in Conway, 66 in North Myrtle Beach. And then for our air quality, we're looking good. Not a single bad air quality signal here. Rather it be moderate or unhealthy for sensitive groups. We are in the clear. Now, as we go into our low temperatures for tonight, we're talking about around a good 50s into the 60s. 50 in Spartanburg, Rock Hill, 54 in Columbia, 55 Sumter, 55 Orangeburg, 52 Greenwood, then those 60s from 60 in Charleston, 64 Hilton Island, 56 in Myrtle Beach, and 55 in Georgetown. High temperatures for tomorrow, same thing, but obviously around like a good 10 degrees higher. We're talking about 70 in Greenville, 71 Spartanburg, 71 Columbia, 71 in Orangeburg, Moncks Corner, Charleston, all 71, 69 Myrtle Beach, 72 Hilton Head Island. Now for rainfall is still definitely possible. I mean, it is still definitely possible. And by the time we get into the models, which will get to the models show a good amount of rainfall potentially as we go into tomorrow. Again, we'll talk about all of that before we get there. But you see totals for like the next 24 hours or so will be around 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch from Aiken, Orangeburg, Sumter, Florence, Myrtle Beach, 10th of an inch to a quarter of an inch from Georgetown, Kingstree, Moncks Corner, around a 10th of an inch to a quarter of an inch to a half an inch for Charleston, Walterboro, Hilton Head Island, and somebody may even get a half an inch to an inch. SPC outlook for tonight, thunderstorms are definitely not going to be an area of concern, so we are good here. Tomorrow we may see some thunderstorms in parts of the low country, the southern Midlands, but for the most part, like I said earlier, not too big of a threat. Saturday, the thunderstorm risk does spread out. We're talking about thunderstorm risk from the southern Midlands over into the low country, over into the Grand Strand and the PD areas. Now for excessive rainfall, no excessive rainfall is expected, no fire weather is expected. And then let's go on now and look at our excessive rainfall. Yes, not excessive rainfall, our crazy score. We already talked about excessive rainfall. Let's go and talk about our crazy score. If you have no idea what the crazy score is, it is a score that we see how active our conditions are throughout the entire state of South Carolina. Let me go ahead and give it a quick refresh real quick. There we go. And it's at an 11. We are at an 11 for tonight. And honestly, I'm not too shocked by that. I mean, to be honest, we're talking about cloudy skies for the most part throughout the state, but we do have some clear spots kind of popping in here and there, so that may bring it down a little bit. Cools, lows, obviously, we're talking about some 50s, 60s, and then also some light winds, not too bad, completely dry. No precipitation really expected too much for tonight, except for those little showers that we have, but that's not going to do anything, barely. And then we still have that burn ban. Still in effect for all of the counties in South Carolina except for Richland, Lexington, Saluda, Edgefield, McCormick, Greenwood, Newberry, Fairfield, Chester, Union, Lawrence, Abbeville, Anderson, Greenville, Pickens, Oconee, Spartanburg, Cherokee, and York. Every other county, though, is good. We don't have to worry about any sort of bad burning conditions. You can burn in those counties that I just named. But if I did not name your county, obviously, you still cannot burn anything. So now let's go in and check out the models. So here we are around 9 o'clock p.m. We go in and push this forward, and one thing that you definitely do see is still you can see some isolated shower activity kind of just pushing throughout the state. But like I said, that's not enough to really bring any sort of concerns or any sort of bad heavy rainfall that may like wake you up at night. Like, I'm not seeing that too much tonight. And then as we go into tomorrow morning, though, look at this, 7 o'clock in the morning going to 8 o'clock in the morning, we're starting to see some rainfall, maybe some more moderate to heavy pushing in from the west, now trying to move more into the low country by the time we get to around 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. And then even as around 10, 11, 12 p.m., I mean, look at how active it is in the low country. Look at how active it's trying to get in the Midlands. Look how it moves, continues to move east into the PD and the Grand Strand areas, 11 a.m. going into noon. I mean, it's going to be an active day tomorrow for a lot of areas. Especially, like I said, in the low country and the Grand Strand and the PD areas. And if you think we're done there, we definitely are not. Look at how we get into Friday here around 4 p.m. We see some more rainfall continuing to move its way east. And then look at Saturday. I mean, this is from Friday night going into Saturday morning. Look at how the precipitation across the state just explodes completely. Now we're looking at rainfall rates from not only just the low country and the Grand Strand areas, but also inside of the upstate. We go all the way through into around 8 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, moving through the afternoon. And then finally, by the time we get through, hopefully on around 2 p.m. on Saturday, we are starting to see some relief. For when it comes to this rainfall. But, I mean, if you really do think about it, we definitely need this rainfall. And I think that we all know that at this time. And so, honestly, I know a lot of people are excited about it. And honestly, I'm excited for you at this point because we definitely need this rainfall a lot. And honestly, I'm not even mad. I had some stuff that I was going to do outside on Saturday. Yeah, might just have to get pushed back because honestly, we need this rainfall. And so if we want to look at the official totals as we go into the next 48 hours or so, I mean, look at this. You're seeing around an inch, possibly even 2 as we go throughout the next 48 hours. I mean, we're talking about half an inch in Colombia. We're talking about maybe an inch over here somewhere in the upstate. We're talking about maybe even close to half an inch over here in the PD and the Grand Strand areas. And if we go on and look at the official forecast from the actual National Weather Service, let me pull that up right now for the for the statewide forecast. Go into precipitation, and if we just go on and look at the next 3 days, honestly, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good as we have around a good half an inch to an inch for a lot of the upstate. We're talking about 1.5 to 2 inches for parts of the low country, for the southern Midlands, for the PD areas, for the Grand Strand areas. I mean, just nice beneficial rainfall. Will this get rid of our drought? Absolutely not. Our drought will still be here as we go into, next week. But I will say that we will definitely see some much needed relief with this rainfall event. So, in terms of the short term, that's really what we're looking at. Now, if we go on and look at the long term shows a bit more of a more flip-flop situation, and we talked about this last night. But if we look at Saturday, obviously all of that rainfall is going to go. And if you remember what I said when I said what's on tap, I said that as we move into Saturday night, we were going to start to see some drier conditions. And the GFS is completely on board. We're talking about Sunday, no rainfall. Monday, no rainfall. Tuesday, maybe some, but not a whole lot. It's not really until we get into around Wednesday, potentially, that we start seeing some beneficial rainfall starting to move into the state. But from Saturday night going through to that time frame, it looks dry. And so as we go all the way through Thursday, going into Friday, again, kind of active, but then once you get into Friday, it seems like things try to calm down again. Watch next weekend. Next weekend comes along, nice, dry conditions. Then as we move into the week after, we may be looking at some more active activity, but that's about 300 hours out, so, obviously we can't really tell that far. But it does look like that we are looking dry, but then also active in some parts. And so that's that flip-flop pattern that I've been talking about. If we go into the ensembles and see what the GEFS has to say in terms of totals for the next 300 to 400 hours going into like mid-May, I mean, we're talking about around a good 2 to 3 inches or so, which is great. And if we go and look at the European one as well, the European ensemble has us a lot less than that, but that is because we are on the 18Z. Let's go to the 12Z. There we go. That's more like it now. I mean, still a little bit less, though. You see only around like an inch and, close to 2 inches, but only 1.9 instead of everybody being above 2 inches. But I will say that's definitely better for the low country because you can see around 3.3 inches in Charleston. So that's what we're looking at here for our future. Rainfall is definitely still going to be upon us, but there's going to be a couple of dry patches here and there that is definitely going to try and cause us to not really get out of this drought as quickly as we could. If we go out and look at these 6-hour increment marks, obviously Friday comes along, Saturday comes along. We're looking at some good rainfall, but then look at how we get into Sunday, going into Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday finally comes along, and then, like I said, more rainfall moves through. So what about for our temperatures? Obviously temperatures do not have the biggest play in terms of the drought. Obviously that has to do with rainfall. Speaking of the drought, by the way, the drought predictions is going inside of the chat right now. Let me tell you your options. Obviously we know that there is a drought going on throughout the state. Obviously, option number 1, our drought has expanded. Option number 2, the drought has shrunken / stayed the same. Option number 3, obviously being the drought is gone, but the abnormally dry remains. And then obviously option number 4, the drought and abnormally dry is gone. So that just went inside the chat. Make sure that you go in and vote for that. But going back to the temperatures, obviously we're talking about as we go more and more into this weekend, We're still seeing cooler temperatures. Watch this how we get into Saturday. Saturday during the day. I mean, we're talking about highs potentially only being in the 50s for some of us. And that's going to be around 30 degrees below average for this time of year. Now, as we go through Saturday night, still going to Sunday morning, still looking pretty chilly. So it's definitely going to be chillier than normal this weekend. But watch as we move into Monday, Tuesday. Definitely not the most warm. Definitely not warm, but watch as we get into Wednesday, Thursday. You're starting to see a little bit of a heat influx as we get through. But then Friday comes along and another cold blast moves through as we go later into next week, bringing in another cold front. And that would bring us, obviously, that storm chance that we just saw earlier when we were looking at the precipitation chances. And obviously, that will be Thursday going into Friday. Now, as you go all the way through into Saturday, so this is going into next weekend, we see again just more cooler air trying to influx or infiltrate where that warm air is supposed to be. But as we go into the week after, still, just seemed like a battle between the two of them. Now, if we go on and look at the actual temperatures themselves, because the anomalies, they're pretty good to look at. But watch as we go into this weekend. High temperatures on Saturday, only in the 50s. Only in the 50s. And you might be asking, well, why is that? And one thing that you also may notice is that Friday night's going to be warmer than Saturday during the day. And you might be asking, okay, well, why is it like that? Why is it to where it's warmer during the morning time than it is during the daytime? And that's because that cold front is moving in during the morning time. So we're talking about 5 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock in the morning. This cold front's moving through. And instead of those temperatures rising, they're going to go down and they're going to drop. And so that's not the best. That's why I always like to see cold fronts trying to move through as we go into like the evening so that we get those nice warm temperatures, but then it drops as as you go overnight so that everybody's mainly inside. But for right now, obviously we're just gonna have to go with whenever it comes in. So I think that probably will be again as we go into Friday night, Saturday morning. Another cold front will be moving through. And honestly, it's going to bring us, our low temperatures down back into the 40s again. We're talking about maybe some high temperatures on Sunday reaching the 70s, but it's not going to be as warm as it once was. The next time we get into the 80s, it probably will be more into next week, Tuesday. We get all the way into Wednesday, we start to see some more. But it's definitely not a whole lot. Definitely not a whole lot. Even as you go into around next weekend. Next weekend, we're seeing some more 80s. And then we kind of just influx back up into the 80s. And then we may even see some high 80s going into some 90s as we go into the week after next week. But it's going to be just a back and forth temperature type week. And one thing we can also go on and look at it is if we go on and look at the ensembles for the GEFS. The GEFS shows us the mean in terms of temperatures. And one thing it does show is it kind of shows a bit more of an influx in heat. So a bit more of kind of like a raise in heat, meaning that we could be warming up more as we go more and more into mid-May. But that's all that I have to say here for the long-term future. Let's go on now and talk about the drought, because obviously that is probably one of the more talked about things right now throughout the state of South Carolina. Probably the burn ban, rainfall, the drought, all being just one of the main things talked about. But I have some bad news. While I was searching this morning for my stuff for my morning forecast update, I accidentally clicked on the drought monitor by accident, and I just happened to take a glance. So I already know the answer already, so I can't guess tonight. Cannot guess tonight. So honestly, just up to what y'all choose. Again, the options are right now: number 1, the drought has expanded. Option number 2, the drought has shrunk / stayed the same. Option number 3, the drought is gone, the abnormally dry remains. Or option number 4, the drought and the abnormally dry is gone. So we're going to get into that right about now, and I almost just showed it again. But we're going to go in and get into that right now. Let's go on and give ourselves a drum roll, as 80% says that they think that the drought has expanded, 20% thinks that the drought has shrunk / stayed the same. Let's go and give ourselves a drum roll real quick and see who got it correct. And yes, it's 100% an expansion. In fact, it is getting to the point to where it is so bad we have an exceptional drought now. So, congrats to the 80% of people who got it correct for tonight. Obviously, we know, as always, I say this every time, we're not applauding for the drought. We're just applauding that for the people who got it correct. But let's go and break this down real quick. So we can already just say the first thing that probably is on all of our minds is obviously this more darker red area over here that includes Hampton counties, Jasper counties, northern Beaufort, and also western Colleton counties. D4, exceptional drought throughout the state of South Carolina. And you might be asking, when was the last time we have seen an exceptional drought throughout the state of South Carolina? And honestly, I mean, just off the top of my head, I can't really think of the last time, but I believe the most recent time South Carolina experienced exceptional drought across the state was in 2012, when 54.8% of the U.S. was in an exceptional drought. And the entire state of South Carolina was in an exceptional drought that year. So, I mean, right now, obviously we know that it is now, but the last time that we have seen an exceptional drought throughout the state was in 2012. So that was a long time ago, about a good old 14 years ago or so. So a long time ago since we've last seen a D4, and just look at how widespread the D3 is now. I mean, the red was only encompassing mainly just a good amount in the low country, good amount in the upstate, but now we're including a lot more Horry counties now in the D3. Georgetown, Williamsburg, Clarendon, Berkeley, Charleston, the entire county of Dorchester, Southern Orangeburg, Darlington, Marlborough, Chesterfield, Lancaster, all included in the D3. And the D2, I mean, even though you're definitely not in the worst, I mean, you still are inside of a severe drought. Richland, Northern Orangeburg, most of Aiken, Dillon, Northern Marion, Northern Florence, Lee counties, Western Kershaw, Eastern Fairfield, Barnwell. These areas are inside of a D2, meaning that they desperately need the rainfall as well. So this is why when I say that this rainfall is so important to us, this is why. Because we have the drought going on throughout the entire state. So that's all that I have to say here for the drought monitor. And to be honest, we are going to go on and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Starting off right now, it does look like, right now, if I go ahead and check it out, here we go. My Aunt Lewis says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. And then Mr. Chris says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you as well. Hope you had a great day today or a good day today. Well, I did. Thank you so much for that. My Aunt Lewis says, I pray that everyone had a great day. Well, I did. Thank you so much. Then Mr. Chris says, was nice here on Moncks Corner. Started off cloudy, but turned clear. Then back to cloudy again. Well, thank you so much for that weather report for where you are. My Nana says, hello, Jay. Hello to you. And then my Aunt Lewis says, so we finally got some rain, maybe not enough to solve the drought problem. Yeah, we got a long way to go before we get rid of this drought problem completely. Then continue our way down. Mr. Chris says, had a brief shower this morning, but did not do too much. I woke up this morning to some heavy rainfall and thunderstorms. Yes, in fact, if you did watch this morning's forecast update, I said Georgetown was inside of a severe thunderstorm warning. It went from like 8:30 to 9:30. So if you were up then, or if that's the time that you woke up, that's probably what you woke up to, a severe thunderstorm warning. And I believe it was for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts that was moving throughout Georgetown this morning. And that was really the only severe thunderstorm warning I saw. Today in Georgetown, our high was around 72 degrees. Thank you so much for that weather report. And then she also says currently we're at 64. At my house right now, we are currently, let me go and check that out. Currently, I'm at around a good 65. The high temperature for today was around 78. Mr. Chris says, I don't even know if we had rain this morning except for a small shower. Got to around 82 here in Moncks Corner. And then says, no, I've got you around 80, or currently at 66, excuse me. Just got an alert saying we're under a coastal flood advisory. Yeah, that's for Charleston counties. Charleston County is inside of a coastal flood advisory. I don't have it on this map. Maybe I can turn it on real quick. Let me see, weather alerts. Let me go to or hydro, actually. Coastal flood advisory. Well, it's on. I don't see it, though. Oh, I turned it off. That's why. It's not showing up here, but there is one. I know what you're talking about. I do know what you're talking about. Back over here, though. Says, please remember to go hit the like button and the subscribe button. Also share with everyone that you know. It's free and it helps the channel grow. Absolutely. We've had, right now, 15 people tune in tonight, and we only have 6 likes. If you are a part of that group of 9 that have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. It's free, and you can share as many times as you want. Many times. It doesn't matter. All you have to do is just go on and make an account, and you can subscribe easily. That means, or that heavy rainfall we had this morning was music to my ears. I know a lot of people said that they loved the rainfall this morning. Mr. Anthony says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. And then my cousin Cheryl says, good evening, weatherman. Hope all is well. Good evening, everyone. A little chilly in Philly and a little rainfall this evening. Do your thing, weatherman. Thank you so much for informing us about the weather. Well, no problem at all. No problem at all. And then, yes, 2007, 2008. That says, good evening, gentlemen, the 360 weather family. I trust all is well with everyone. It was a very nice day here in San Antonio. A little sun and mostly cloudy all day. We are bracing for around 2.17 inches of rainfall tomorrow. That will help out with the drought for sure. The Weather Channel is already predicting some significant flooding. Some schools have already canceled schools so as to not put the little ones at risk. I know my fruits and veggies really need some good showers. The high was around 74 degrees today. Well, honestly, I'm trying to think, because I know that you guys over there in San Antonio, because we're about to go and talk about San Antonio right now, I don't remember the last time. I guess maybe because it hasn't been recent, possibly, but I don't think that my school has ever closed for flooding issues, now that I think about it. I know that we did have one time to where it was bad. You had like the parking lot where all the cars were flooded up. They had trash cans floating around in the water. I mean, you had people having to be rescued out of their homes. I mean, it was just bad rainfall that came through. But no, we still had school that day. Still had it. Maybe because, I don't know, if they just weren't in tune with it, or they just didn't think it was going to be that bad, or what happened. But let's go and talk about the 4 areas outside of South Carolina. You might be asking 4 areas. What am I talking about? I'm talking about San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about these 4 areas is because we have people from these areas who tune in almost nightly. And because they tune in almost nightly, we go in and give them their forecast for them. Starting off with San Antonio. We have, let me go in and give this thing right here a quick refresh real quick. I'm just going to move the screen on over here. But let me go in and read it out. 63 for your low for tonight. High temperatures for tomorrow at around 65. And then low temperatures tomorrow night going to be at around 53. And, I mean, like you said, I mean, it's going to be active. It's going to be real active. We're talking about thunderstorms tonight, thunderstorms tomorrow, and then showers being likely. Showers are likely as you go into tomorrow night as well. So make sure that you are aware of that. Also, severe weather, excessive rainfall. I think it's kind of obvious that you have a chance of excessive rainfall for tomorrow, but also a chance of severe weather. Isolated thunderstorms capable of being severe are possible tomorrow. And the threat's not really tornadoes or in wind. It's actually hail. Isolated damaging hailstones of up to an inch in diameter is your main concern as you go into tomorrow. And then for excessive rainfall, obviously you have a slight risk of excessive rainfall not only for tonight, which is probably the reason why you're under a flood watch for tonight going into tomorrow, but also for tomorrow you have a slight risk of excessive rainfall there. But then after, once you get around Saturday, Sunday, Monday, things definitely get back on the best track. So we're not really talking about anything else too bad for you. So we can go on and check out the weather for your future, as it looks like temperatures will be coming back up. I mean, we're talking about 77 on Sunday, 84 on Monday, 90 on Tuesday. So your temperatures will be going back up, but they will be dropping potentially later next week back down to the lower 80s. And also, I do want to check out your drought as well, since I know that San Antonio was inside of a drought. Let's see if it has shifted any last time you were inside of the D3. And right now, it looks like that you are actually clearing up. You're actually a bit more in the D1 now. So that drought is slowly going away. And the fact that you're going to get another 2 inches or so, like you said, tomorrow, I mean, that's going to be pretty good. That's going to be pretty good rainfall there. So we'll see how it looks next week. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's going to completely get rid of it next week. But I know it could potentially take a good chunk of that drought away from you. So I'm kind of excited to see what that looks like next week. We'll see if you are out of it or if you're just in the abnormally dry. But if you are technically out of the drought, you no longer have to really long for rainfall unless you have some personal stuff like obviously your fruits and vegetables and stuff like that. But the area won't need the rainfall as much anymore. So let's hope that that's the case. Then for Raleigh, North Carolina, you have low temperatures tonight at around 49, high temperature for tomorrow at 70, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 52. No precipitation tonight or tomorrow, but tomorrow night, rain is likely. Rain is likely. Severe weather, excessive rainfall, not really expected at this time. In fact, if we go on and look at your future, the next chance of rainfall really, like I said, tomorrow night, but Saturday and Sunday. But after that, I mean, you don't see a chance of rainfall until probably later next week. So you're good. Temperatures, they're going to kind of just more than likely just stay into like the 70s. You will take a bit of a dip, obviously, on Saturday as that cold front moves through. High temperature only being around 58. Sunday around 68. And then Monday, you're going to be around 76 or so. And you will make it to around 81 degrees on Tuesday of next week. So you definitely will be warming up. Just a matter of how much will that warm up be? Now let's go on and talk about Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, with low temperatures tonight at around a good 45. High temperature for tomorrow at around a good 66. And then low temperatures tomorrow night at 48. No precipitation tonight. Precipitation tomorrow, not expected. But tomorrow night, there is a chance of showers there. In terms of your severe weather, excessive rainfall, nothing is expected there. And then for your future, it does look like that you will have a rainy weekend, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday, probably dry. But Saturday, to start off your weekend, it's going to be rainy. For your future, going to continue to be more in the 70s, maybe some 80s as you go into around next week. But it's definitely not the worst. And then the final area, the final location that we talk about, that being inside of Duncan, Oklahoma, which usually is the most active of the areas, but it's not tonight. Definitely not tonight. With low temperatures tonight at 52, high temperature for tomorrow at 66, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 45. No precipitation except for tomorrow, where you do have a chance of showers. But after that, you're nice and dry. I mean, all the way through next week, Thursday, you're not looking at a single chance of rainfall. Temperatures, you will be warming up. We're talking about 90s on Tuesday. So you will have a pretty active, pretty warm, pretty hot start to the week next week. Let's go in and check and see if I got any pictures for tonight. Seemed like that I do. We had one over here from Mr. Chris. He says, beautiful sunset in Moncks Corner near the lake. Sent this in at around 7:35 p.m. And thank you so much for this picture. If you want to go on and send me a picture, you can by sending it to scweather360@gmail.com. Something weather, atmosphere, anything to do in the weather family. You can send it to me at scweather360@gmail.com, or you can send it to me on Twitter at 360_weather. And with that out of the way, let's see what's going on throughout the entire U.S. weather news-wise. Well, it looks like right now that a storm tracking across the southern U.S. will bring heavy to excessive rainfall over portions of the western central Texas into tonight, then from central Texas through the central Gulf Coast on Friday. The southeastern U.S. will see heavier rainfall on Saturday, while much of this rainfall will be beneficial to the drought. Excessive rainfall may bring areas of flash and urban flooding. So that's pretty much all that I have to say here, except for maybe some frost, some freezing conditions going on in Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, throughout the Dakotas and Nebraska. But I don't see anything else too bad. So that's all I have to say here for tonight. Make sure, if you have not hit the like button yet, go and hit the subscribe button. If you have not yet either, hit the share button. Share with your friends, family members, acquaintances, people that you don't talk to on a regular basis, because it's free. It is free. That says, luckily we live in the high part of the county. Very unfortunate for those in the downtown area. Praying for those all to stay safe and dry until the storm passes. Rain is expected to start around 5 o'clock in the morning and end at around 11 o'clock p.m. Then my Aunt Lou says Georgetown does not take any chances. They will close for everything, and then they will have makeup days later. Same here, Moncks Corner. And then Mr. Chris says, everyone please stay safe and hydrated. Absolutely. And that's all that I can see here throughout the chat. So we're ending this for tonight. Top fans of the night for tonight. It does seem like, just, at a special view, I can just go on and just kind of make an eye and just see what happens. But honestly, it was very contested tonight, so we might have to have a count real quick. Let me see. I see around a good 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Then I see around a good 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. And then I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So Mr. Chris did win it by like a landslide tonight. Maya Lou's at number 2, and then Thad's at number 3. So congratulations to the three of y'all for being the top fans of the night for tonight. If you want to be a part of the top fans, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m., being here early, being a subscriber, and obviously being active. If you do all those, you'll most likely be on that top 3 spot. And that's all. Make sure you hit those 2 buttons before you leave. 730 subscribers trying to get to 800. And I'll be back tomorrow.